Fellas, wake up! It's time to complain about a free DLC this time. You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here with this one, Crypto. Come on now. Well, technically it was only free for a certain period of time, but shut up! I want you to take yourselves back to 2019. Borderlands 3 has already been announced, but you are dreading the half-a-year wait until the game's release. But assuming you were around back then, there is a high chance you stumbled on one of Submato's videos where he spoke about a secret DLC coming to Borderlands 2, mainly noticed through changes in Steam's files through the SteamDB website. And lo and behold, after even more wait, we finally reached E3 2019, and I think we all expected to get something Borderlands 3 related here, right? That was a given. It was definitely one of the biggest games of the year, but I don't think any of us expected this.
This is Lilith. Sanctuary is under attack. All civilians evacuate the city immediately.
This announcement came out of nowhere, literal thin air. Like, we knew something was coming, but this was so unexpected. Like, there was no hints or anything. It was just such an iconic moment at the time. And I definitely don't think we expected to see this. Now, yeah, sure, okay, it's only free to collect for a limited time, but this was still so insane. This is probably the biggest Borderlands 2 DLC in terms of what new it brought to the table, and the fact that they just gave it away like your mother does with her services is insane. And now, let's take our mind back to present day. The DLC is over 3 years old, and whilst it did bring some incredible new additions to the series, I actually think it did more bad than good. Yeah. I said it! But let's talk about the good goods first, and how can we even begin talking about this without mentioning the iconic effervescence? Yeah, these were shit. Excluding the toothpick and hot armor, all of these were just reskins of original BL2 items. Worldburn, Nukem, Nirvana, Hellfire, Electric Chair, Quasar, Unicorn Splat. You get the point. But as lazy and underperforming as a lot of these items were, we still had that chase for new loot, which we didn't really have too much of in the other BL2 DLCs, and the idea of a rainbow rarity was mwah. So unique. Shit slapped harder than the ratio I pulled on morning after kill the other day, I swear to God. I just wish they were utilised a bit better, you know? Little off-topic rant about the Mac thing though. This man's fall-off genuinely needs to be studied in schools across the globe. I'd never actually disrespect the OGs of the community. Like, I grew up watching most of these myself, and now I happen to be pretty good friends with most of them, but I'ma do it anyways. Listen, the community's been dry as fuck. Someone's gotta provide the entertainment, okay? But seriously though, how much of a low-life fucking loser do you have to be to get literally outcasted by the community for having some of the worst takes imaginable? Then proceed to hate on the franchise for months on end just to come back to it and essentially base your channel off of one guy because you genuinely cannot pull half the views you do without his name and face in the thumbnail. Like, but bro, I hope you realize you've lost respect from pretty much every creator under the sun for that shit. It's literal harassment, man. He also tried roasting me on Twitter at one point actually for getting less views than him. Brother, you have 100 times more subs than me. I would sure hope you pull more views, but you barely do that and you... Okay, I've probably said too much as it is. I can call it quits there. Dude, you know you really messed up when Crypto5 on Twitter ratios you with lick my balls bozo. Anyways, back to it. Next up, we have included most of the community's fan-favorite characters in the story, like Tina played a big role, Vaughn got introduced into the main games before they made him an unbearable cut, Scooter got his own little side mission, fuck, they even brought Cassius back, which I don't think anyone was expecting the old bastard to return. And all of these characters working together seriously had great chemistry and made the story a really fun experience. We also got a ton of new farms, such as the Loot Midget farm from the Porta Party, farming Uranus for loot, which, shut up man, that's not a funny joke, you immature bastard. And of course, the quite recently discovered Tubby Spider Ant farm, which honestly, thank God we were so overdue a new Tubby farm, man. And finally, the DLC was free for a limited time, which actually brings me onto the issues side of things. This was both good and bad. Good because I don't think I need to explain why a $15 product being free is good now, come on. But bad because this genuinely broke a lot of people's game. For example, say you now own a copy of Borderlands 2 without the Commander Lilith DLC because you don't want to pay for it, whatever the reason might be, right? Because you don't own this DLC, you cannot access the raid on Digistruct Peak at all. Like, whether you bought DigiPeak or got it from the Handsome Collection doesn't matter, you just can't access it. And this is because in order to do the OP levels, your character needs to be max level, but level 80 is something you cannot reach without Fight for Sanctuary. So this is essentially a big fuck you to the people who own the raid on Digistruct Peak, because now if you want to do that piece of content which you rightfully own, you need to spend $15 more. It's just a slap in the face, and the fact that Gearbox never fixed this is really scummy. But don't worry, we'll make sure to put an ad advertising new Tales in the top of our main menu for you. But please go buy it before Embracer closes us down like they did Volition. Stemming off of that, another thing that this DLC did poorly was the management of balancing in OP 9 and 10. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? I really don't think I need to say much here. Like, most of you have played OP8 or have at least seen footage of OP8 gameplay when that was the cap, and that was barely bearable. The weapon and build diversity at that point alone was ridiculously low, so I don't understand why they thought making it even more limited would be a good idea, but good idea, Gearbox, like always, 10 out of 10. And round of applause to them for also breaking multiple raid bosses with OP10. Hyperius and Veracidus have double the HP they're meant to have. Do you want to hear how much health Vora himself has? 9.7 billion. Are you insane? Like said, the DLC also introduced the new max level cap, obviously being level 80, and if you thought the grind to level 72 was bad enough, enjoy 8 more levels. These 8 can take you genuine days. Like, unless your plan for the whole day is only killing one enemy for XP, it's gonna take you ages and it's not fun. This, no. And it's not even just the grind, but more levels means more skill points, meaning literally everyone will end up having the same looking skill trees. Like, we can almost get every capstone in the game now. And finally, I know I mentioned it before with Effervescence, but almost every item included in this DLC is just a power crept version of an older gun. This applies to legendaries too. Bumpson, meet Hammerbuster. Hector's Paradise, meet Hornet. It really just meant they could get away with the most laziest weapon designs imaginable, and at this point they really could have just buffed the over 2 items and make them shine more rather than just making the loot pool bigger for the sake of making it bigger, you know? And hell, this whole power creeping thing became an even bigger issue in Borderlands 3, but I'll save that for a future video. That's a whole topic for a different rant. But what do you think of the Commander Lilith DLC? I think at the end of the day, whilst it was a great DLC, it really did more harm than good to Borderlands 2, and it still blows my mind Gearbox won't bother to fix all of the new issues they've created. But please buy new Tales, please! But that marks the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. I make content all things Borderlands, so it's definitely worth sticking around. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay classy. Peace.